Hello everyone, Krydax here. Welcome back to our Pyanodons playthrough. In between the last episodes, I've done a couple things, one of which is laying down some stone, as you can see. That way we can move around a little bit faster. I made a little list here so I can remember what I've done. I added some assemblers to construct small parts and pipes out of iron and copper so that we don't have to handcraft those. I've done a lot of handcrafting. As you can see, I have quite a few buildings and pipes and inserters ready to go. Better coke handling, I'll show you what that means in a moment. I added some more boilers and power. I added a few more copper burner drills. I placed down the stone brick, and I chopped a bunch of wood so that I have some more. And then better coke handling is up here. I changed kind of a little bit of how this all works. First of all, because I have balancers or splitters, I can just sort the iron oxide out, and then I send the coke to be used in carbon dioxide, but then I overflow into just burning the coke to make more coal gas and tar, which gives us more fuel for our glassworks. And then I also changed this one, which is purely here to get regular coal, to... I should probably connect this tar to the other one, but I'm just currently venting the coal gas, which seems like a waste. I actually shouldn't do that. Let's connect this up. I don't know why I'm doing that. I mean, because I don't have overflow, we could have some sort of backup, but for now, I need the coal gas. And I'm doing the same thing where I'm putting the iron oxide in a chest this time, just in case I need to save up a little bit. And then I'm sending the coal to be used for rubber stoppers. And then the extra coal I'm putting in a chest. So that way we can have some coal on hand if we need it. So that's my current setup. That'll change quite a few times as we get other things. And things have backed up pretty well, except for really glass is the limiting factor right now. These two are both running as fast as they can, but we just don't have enough coal gas to power them. Once we get syngas, which is something that we unlock with coal processing, I believe, then this gets a lot easier, because syngas, we generally make it from coal gas, and we get more syngas than coal gas along with tar, and syngas is twice the fuel value, so it's 400 kilojoules per unit instead of 200. And then the tar, we can turn into more coal gas, which then turns into more syngas and tar, and it's this loop. And I think it ends up being, I think, like quadruple the fuel value of coal gas. And then the nice thing is we can also use the tar to make more coal gas and syngas. So essentially, we don't have as many waste products. And so we can take in raw coal and only output syngas and a little bit of iron oxide and ash. So that's a nice loop once we get it going, and we'll have, at that point, plenty of power for our glassworks. So I have built up a little bit of science here in the time I've been working. We've got, looks like 16 plus 8, so we've got 24. I did finish the automation recipe, or I mean the factory, what is this? Factory Building Mark 1 recipe. And I may cheat to get this research, the chest connections, and the factory upgrade preview. I mean, that's kind of just like quality of life. That's not even doesn't even do anything for you, except it lets you see what's inside the building. I'd like to have that before green science, because green science is going to be a extremely long time away. We won't get green science for a very, very, very long time. And fluid connections, thankfully we can do with just red science, which I'll just do now. I don't know if that's what I should be spending my red science on, but here we are. I won't do lights just yet. I will want nanobots. Those are pretty nice. Near inserters are pretty nice. But really steel is the main thing I want to go for, because I want to get towards, let's see. Well, I want to get coal processing because this has a lot of important technologies. And then what I also really want is wood. I want to be able to make wood. Oh, do I get that with coal processing? Let's see. I don't think so. I think they're called logs. It's a tree. Yeah, botany stage 1, I guess, is what I want. Because I want to be able to grow logs using water, and then I can make wood out of that. Fastwood forestry, yeah, that's what we want. And so we need botany stage 1, which we need xenobiology for. And we even need engine units for those, which I don't know if I have. It's interesting. Okay, so steel, and then I'll need xenobiology, and then botany. So we do need a lot of red science for that. And then engines, we are going to need the engine technology, which is thankfully just red science. But those even include aluminum, so we'll need more aluminum for that. But yeah, we're on a long journey here. So we'll work on getting those upgraded. A couple changes I have made to the game, my own little balancing changes, and there's not a lot, but I did change the factory CMO buildings to be a little bit cheaper. Normally they're 500 stone and iron and 100 copper. Because I'm going to be using these so much, I wanted to reduce the cost a little bit. It doesn't change a whole lot, but just makes it a little bit lighter on if I want to build 10 of them. It's not quite as extreme. And then I also tried to change the mod that makes these wires reach farther so that it would work for 1.1, and I clearly didn't succeed. I don't really know anything about modding in Factorio, so changing the little files to just say 1.1 I thought might work, and it didn't. And then finally, I have changed the bots, the logistics bots, to be a little stronger, to make their cargo capacity a little bigger. And then for the, especially the tier 2, looks like I didn't succeed in changing that one. Need to go back and fix that. But for tier 2, it's supposed to be 9 cargo capacity instead of 4, and then for tier 3, I changed it to 12. And then I also made sure that each of them is successively more efficient in terms of its energy usage and has a bigger max capacity battery. So, I mean, if I get far enough to have tier 2 logistics bots, I feel like I deserve them to be very good. Because by default, they're not that much better. It goes from, carrying 3 to carrying 4, and then a slight boost to the efficiency, but then the max battery is the same. So I figured I'd buff them a little bit. It feels fair enough. And so we will actually want to craft a few of these. I need more iron plates. And I did do some Helmod investigating into how we can make our iron more efficient, because we're going to use this patch really fast if we're doing 8 ores per plate. So I made a different chain using ingredient input for each type of iron smelting that we can do. This is the one we're doing right now. Is 10 ore will get us only 1.25 plates. And then the next, once we unlock iron processing 1, we'll actually have all 3 of these as options. This one is simply, or I guess I have to click on this. This one is simply crushing the iron in jaw crushers and then using processed iron ore directly into smelting. And it's still significantly better than the default recipe. I mean, we're getting almost double the iron plates per ore. But what's really a lot better is if we use the molten iron recipe and borax. The problem is this requires a lot of borax. However, I think it's still worth it, because then 4 borax is essentially getting me an extra 5.2 plates. So I'm essentially turning borax into iron, which feels like it's worth it. And I'll end up using all this stuff anyway, so I'll probably go straight from here to here, and we'll get a massive boost. And then this one is if I'm using hot air, in addition to the borax and the sand casting. And I'm not sure if I'll have hot air set up at first, but I can easily add in the hot air later, so that we can get even more efficient. And at that point, we're almost at 1 plate per iron. And you can see the power usage. Let's actually leave, I included the hot air kind of buildings in this, but let's take those out and see how much power this would take. Because I'm going to be kind of generating hot air as its own loop. So assuming we can provide the hot air, you can see that these are the same energy consumption. But if we think about consumption per plate, this is obviously a lot lower because it's 9 per 1.6 megawatts instead of 7.2 per 1.6 megawatts. So all that being said, we will not be there for a while yet because we still have to think about... How did you run out of fuel? We still have to get to, you know, coal processing 1, and then we have to do assembling machine, or let's see, whatever it requires for this. So engine research, and then mining machines, and then we can finally do iron processing stage 1. And this is where we get jaw crushers, basic oxygen furnaces, foundries, casting units, yada yada. But that'll be a little while. So we're currently waiting on steel processing to get done. Since my issue is fuel right now, I'm going to go ahead and switch this over to tar for a minute. Try to use up all the tar that we have. Let's hook this up. So that we can use the tar from that one as well. That should provide enough power for a little while. I feel like I should get a third glassworks building going here, most likely, just to provide enough. Soon, I think what's been the problem is that we've needed a ton of these, what are they called? Petri dishes. But once those are backed up, then a lot more of the glass will be going to the glassware. And that's what we really need. Right now we're just not producing enough. And of course, we'll get a more efficient version of glass at some point as well. So, what's interesting about alien life is just all the different kinds of animals. We're going to have Fowoge, or however you pronounce that, which are like mushrooms and plants. And then we have different types of animals. We have land animals like cotton guts, ulrichs, vrauks, augs, and arquads. And each of those has its own complex chain and different things. And honestly, I'm not sure if we're going to even need all of them or how that all works. So it'll kind of be a fun experiment. I know there's about 1 million things we'll have to do, especially to get towards green science, but for now we'll just enjoy the ride. Trying to think of the next thing I want to do while we're waiting for red science. I am going to speed up the game to 2x for a second, because we are going to be doing a lot of waiting around. I think I'm going to make some factory buildings, because we'll need them. Should be good for now. And then I'll probably just keep working on making a ton more belts. Increase this. So we need some more iron for the small parts, and then we need some more iron for my plates. So essentially this is just a basic, you know, makes the gears, the rods, which go into bolts, and then make some small parts, put those in a chest, and then we need small parts and iron to make transport belts. Because I think what I'm going to want to do as I move towards a real base is actually have a bus. I didn't go for a bus in my space exploration because it didn't feel totally necessary. I sort of did a half bus. But I think for this I definitely want a real bus. I want to bus all the ores into this area, and then I'll do all my smelting over here, and then I'll bus all of the plates from smelting to the east there. Because I'm going to need a lot of space, and I'm going to plan on using factory buildings for a lot of different things. There is a slight problem with factory buildings in that logistics bots can't deliver directly into the buildings. So if you want to use logistics bots, you kind of have to deliver to a chest that you then unload into the building. And especially with using Deadlock's stacking, you can run into some issues where you are delivering stacked items, but then those end up putting a full stack into the unstacker. So we'll see if there might be a way to address that and not oversupply, but it's really easy to oversupply with Deadlock stacking combined with Factorissimo. To where, like, even if you only want to deliver 50 of an item, you end up delivering 2 or 3 stacks of it at the end of the day for everything to buffer and back up. It looks like we finally have enough copper plates, so I will craft some, let's see, HighTech. I'll craft some more circuits by hand, because I'll need those eventually. We'll be handcrafting circuit ones for a long time. And I'm tempted to get some more iron to go put some miners down here to start using, because we have a lot of iron. Between these 2 patches, we're at like 2.5 million, and there's another 5 million down here, and another 3 million up here. So we'll have plenty of iron. I am a little bit worried about my raw coal. I've only got 1.5 million on that patch, and I don't have anything else nearby. I have to go all the way down here, or down there, but I mean, 1.5 million will still last a long time. I probably shouldn't be worried. But with Pyanodons, it's kind of surprising how much you use in the early stages of the game. But I do think I want to... Do I want to use electricity or burners again? I think we'll just use burners. So 4, 6, 8, 10, 20, 30. So we'll have 30 drills going with 15 furnaces. And then we'll take just a whole bunch of raw coal to fill those. Because right now I'm just not getting enough iron. Thankfully this forest is nice and dense, so we should have plenty of wood from all these trees. Okay. Speaking of trees, they do get in the way. Alright, so we need our burner drills. Alright, and then we want to use raw coal in all of these, so it's kind of bothersome that it put regular coal in them. So I'm just going to take everything out. Unfortunately, you can't take the fuel out of the burner furnaces, which is really annoying. Okay, so now we put raw coal in all of these. And that should run for a while. And we can just come visit this area a little while later, and we'll probably have stacks of 500. Which we will need. Alright, we'll just put this ore in one of these. I don't know how he ended up without any fuel, but that's fine. Okay, we finished steel. And steel is a real mess. We're probably just gonna be handcrafting? That's the word. Just kind of manually inserting. We'll do 15 for steel. And is steel still 2? No, it's 10. Oh my gosh. Okay. So steel is insanely expensive right now. As you can see, 10 iron plates, which each need 8 iron ore. So 80 iron ore for 1 steel plate is where we're at right now. But we will need it, so we'll at least get started with a little bit of steel. And let's see how our research is doing. We're short on the substrate because that's short on cellulose. Oh, I ran out of wood. That is something I don't have here, so let's put The rest of our wood in there. Go chop some more trees. And I'm just going to leave the game speed on 2x because, again, Pyanodons is a lot of waiting, a lot of handcrafting, a lot of slow processes. So, playing the game speed on 2x is not really cheating, it's just making time pass faster, which I guess you could argue it's kind of like cheating, but I think we get more fun packed into a small amount of time this way, so... Especially because you're watching, I'm saving both myself some time, and I'm saving you some time. The only thing we miss out on is boredom, and more waiting, I guess. So it doesn't feel like a loss to me. Okay. I will be using nanobots once I get them to chop down for us, because it's a lot faster. But for now, we'll just chop some more trees. We run out of fuel there. But yeah, I didn't realize this was the thing that I was running out of. Though we are out of glassware as well. We have finally... Gosh, it took 57... Oh, it's still crafting? That's horrible. I wonder how it decides when it stops. Is this really going to craft a full stack? Because that's going to be 500 petri dishes that we're going to have to wait for. And we've now run out of power. So that's fun. I'm guessing that's because I'm out of raw coal. I really need to start crushing coal. Yeah. This is the problem. Okay. So, coal crushing, once we get coal processing 1, then we will be able to research engines and then mining machines, and then we can get raw coal stage 1. And that lets us crush 3 raw coal into a crushed coal. Let's pull it up here. Into a crushed coal, and 2 regular coal, and 1/3 of a coal dust. And so in terms of megajoules for fuel, it's pretty crazy how much we get back, because this is 9 megajoules worth of raw coal, and we get 6 from the crushed coal, we get 8 from that coal, so that's already 14, and then we get about 1 from the coal dust. So we get about 9 megajoules, goes into 15 megajoules worth of burnable material. So that's close to double, which is pretty nice. And we'll definitely be doing that at some point. Now these burners are actually inefficient compared to electric mining machines because they use 150 kilowatts instead of 90. So I might actually just want to replace these and put the coal in a chest. It'll be a little easier to grab it anyway. So we'll just do, I think 5, or is that 6 on each side? I'm not sure. And then I am using the mini loaders mod, which unfortunately I think mini loaders are kind of expensive. Mini loader. Yeah, they require 8 steel, underground, a bunch of fast inserters, and fast inserters require duralumin, so it's going to be a long time before I can automate mini loaders. And the Deadlocks have the compact loaders, which are way cheaper. I'm under the impression that the mini loaders are more UPS efficient, but I'll probably be using compact loaders for a long time, just because they're actually cheaper. But I also just have chutes, which is probably what I'll use here. Because I think, weirdly enough, chutes can only output 3.75 per second, but I think if the belt going into the chute is... It's like they're not actually getting slowed down by that 3.75 per second, so that's kind of nice. Because this is making 12 per second, and it's all fitting in. So the chutes are not totally correct, it should be a little slower. But now I can just grab my raw coal from chest, and we can refuel all of our miners here. I'll slow down the game because that'll give me a little bit more leeway. Because normally it would say like 1 second after you stop doing the distribution. It says right somewhere in here. Maybe it's in advanced. Yeah, distribution delay is 1.2 seconds. But then if I, you know, if I'm speeding up the game, then I'll only have 0.6 seconds before it drops everything. Okay, we're almost done with coal processing 1, which is a big technology. So we can, what can we do with this? Let's remind ourselves. So we can make green science, but that's a long time from now. Not going to worry about that. We can wash borax to actually make borax, which we will do at some point. I think the important thing is we can make coal gas out of tar. And then we can do sand casting. We can make syngas. Let's see. We can make saline water. We can make benzene from coal water slurry. Hot stone bricks from outlet gas, which I don't even think we can get outlet gas for a long time. And then you can also make hot air directly from stone bricks, which rather than using the outlet, or what's it called? Not outlet gas, the coke oven gas. So there's kind of 2 ways to make hot air, and we'll probably mix and match. But the first thing I want to do here is make a bunch of gasifiers, which unfortunately require 20 steel each. That sucks. So maybe not a bunch, but at least a couple, because then we can start making syngas. So we'll grab the steel that we have, and we can also make pressurized water and air and sinkholes to get rid of liquids, which is nice. And I will want the fluid. When do I get fluid? Here it is. Fluid handling. We'll need a few more researches, but this is really important for these overflow valves and top-up valves, non-return valves. So we are going to need the engine. Let's actually focus on that first, because it's not, that's only 70 more, and then 50. And then after all that, we can then work on mining machines. And I think the first thing we'll want is probably iron. But then we'll also want raw coal. And then after that, we'll do coke. Because then we have a much better coal to coke ratio. Because right now, you know, we're going from 10 raw coal to 3 coal. And then with crushing, we go from 3 to 2, which is all, because that's 30% we get out of it. This is 66%, so more than double. And then right now, coal to coke, we've got, not that recipe, where is it? It's probably at the beginning here. 10 to 6, so that's 60%. And then with the next research, we get, I don't actually know where it is. There's a lot of uses for coal now. There it is. Then we get 80% plus the coke oven gas, which even has fuel value, so we can just power our base off of that. So those researches will help. Let's see if there's some sort of stop here. Yeah. How much are circuits? Because I could actually use circuits to slow this whole thing down. Oh, I need green science for circuits? Yeah, well, okay. Trying to think if there's a way. Once I have the overflow valves, there may be a way to do this, but... Okay, so I'm out of tar. Because my... Okay, well, that explains why it's slowed down. So with a few gasifiers, which I can now make, we can get some better... Look at all these things I've unlocked. Alright, so what I'm going to want to do... And I'll need acetylene to mine lead and titanium, which becomes important. So here we'll turn all of our tar into coal gas. And then in this one, we'll turn our coal gas into syngas and tar, which will loop back. And you can see that it's important we'll have those valves, because with the way this ends up working out, sometimes it stops itself, and we'll need some pressure pumps for the pressurized air. So I will grab, I'm going to speed things up again. I'm going to go grab all my iron from the south. But essentially we need to use all the tar that's output from the syngas first before we use other tar, and there's a couple other places we need to make sure we're being efficient with our tar usage and our coal gas usage. Otherwise, once things eventually back up, then when the system finally needs to be used again, sometimes it doesn't start up again because you're using the wrong things first. Okay, we'll put half of our iron plates to steel. So I think we just need one pressure pump. And then we'll need water as well. Okay, so the pressure pump can go here to make pressurized air. Connect up our power. And then we will just vent our flue gas. Oh, do these not use power anymore? That's nice. These used to need power. I guess it makes sense that they don't. Okay, so then we need to hook up the coal gas and water. I do have water here. I don't think we need very much. Yeah, 33 per second. And then we'll hook up the coal gas. Ah, it's not long enough. Then we'll take off this attachment. And this will actually be connected to syngas. Flush that. Power this building. And there we go. We do need to output the ash, which we will use at some point, but for now we'll just put it in chests. It stacks to 1,000, so we've got a lot of time before that fills up. Oh, and we need to hook up this coal gas. And then the tar needs to be hooked up. That's the problem. We haven't hooked this up. There we go. That outputs 66. This one can only consume 16 per second. Oh, that's not very fast. Huh. I'm gonna need 2 of these, but I don't have enough steel. Oh, I mean, I'll probably need a lot more than 2 at some point, but for now 2 will be a lot better. There's my gasifier. So we'll pop another one of these here. And then coal gas. We'll need to hook up the tar. Guess we'll do that. And then this. That's ugly. Okay. So now that should use a decent amount of my coal gas. And maybe be enough to power all my glassworks? Not quite. But it's a lot better, I think. Potentially not. These were outputting 60 coal gas per second. It's definitely way more efficient, but I need, I think, still more of these. Oh, we can do that. We'll do 2 more. I'm just about out of pipes, though. And the water... Let's see, we need to go like that. Yep, I'm out of pipes. Good thing is we have more. Let's grab everything. And then hook up the coal gas. Okay. So that's better. We can use up 66 coal gas per second. Problem is the... what's it called? The ash. Which we will just put into a box. Okay, sweet. That should do it. I think this inserter can keep up with 1.3 per second. It's just a little bit of a backlog. And that actually is providing enough syngas for us to run everything full time, which is great. So I might do another glassworks. Though, didn't really think this through very well. That should help as well. Beautiful. I mean, I guess I could have done the math. 23.3 syngas per second. So, this calculator's not very good. The Helmod calculator is a lot better. So 23.3 per second times 400 kilojoules. I guess we'll say 0.4 megajoules. So we get 9.3 megawatts of syngas power. So with 4 of them, we're getting almost 40 megawatts, which is enough to run these 3 full-time and 1 of these full-time. Because these 3 only produce 6 per second, and it's clearly a lot. That's just enough to have this guy run almost full-time, but then this guy could only run 10% of the time. So currently, that's my slowdown. Once my petri dishes build up, then we'll be okay. I'd much prefer to have my glassworks build up first, because I think that would, or my glassware. But I just can't. There's no easy way to split this in half. I guess I could separate the molten glass. Actually, that's not a bad idea. So we'll have... Well, I don't know if I can actually do this given the constraints here, but I could have this one go down to here. And then something like this. And then this one's connected up. But then we don't have very many inserters into this building. I think those are fast enough, actually. Maybe just about. So then this one is making glass just for the petri dishes. And the other two are making glass that will only go to glassware. And I'm not even making regular glass at this point. But I will need regular glass for a lot of different buildings. I wish there was a button to just clear all of this. Okay. We'll need lots of regenerative heat exchangers over time, because those are the ones that deal with hot bricks to get hot air. Okay, so that's looking a little better, I think, in terms of my science per second output. Still taking a while. And we are using up our wood. So I guess I'll go chop some more, but of course we're out of coal. But now we have plenty. Actually got quite a lot of copper. I don't want all of this. We'll just keep 2 stacks on our person. And then let's go grab some more iron. Because we need a bunch of steel. And then I also need to think about my engines. Okay. We'll give half of this to steel, which is quite a lot. And then we'll drop 1 stack, 500 for small parts. I think we have enough iron plates there. And then we'll drop 500 for pipes. But yeah, so this coal gas, we need to actually kind of fix this. So what we'll do is we'll separate out the tar. And we'll have a gasifier for just these guys that will take the tar and a vacuum, which needs steel. And then vent blue gas and connect up coal gas. Connect those 2 up. And then place ash into this chest. Okay, so now I just need to provide this with regular coal, which I have a little bit of, so I can mine more aluminum. Grab some more here. Because I'm going to need aluminum for engines. So, figure we should mine a little bit more. Got some quartz here we don't want. Well, we are slowly researching things, but these glasswares are crazy expensive. let's see. There are more efficient recipes later. For now, though, if I can summon 50 hot air, I get a free 50% boost. And I actually can do that. So 50 hot air is just 5 stone bricks. So I think that's going to be a big help. If we can make some hot air here. We will use a different recipe. It's down here, though. And we'll just make hot air directly from... I'm actually going to put these on my little hot bar. You use these all the time. And then we just need stone bricks. So essentially 5 stone bricks will be 1 glassware. Which is only 10 stone ore. I mean, stone bricks are actually pretty cheap. And we're out of rubber stoppers, which is because we're out of latex slabs, we're out of formic acid. Aha. We're out of iron and copper. So that should last another while. Okay. Let's just do some quick math. So 5 stone bricks per 3 glassware. So 500 would be 300 glassware. And glassware, so it's like enough for a few thousand red science. Yeah, that'll last me a while. Not gonna worry more about that. And then got plenty of pretty much all of the basic resources. Let's go ahead and fuel up our iron miners. I should probably switch this to electric drill mining. Let's go ahead and do that. And we'll use a factory building for smelting. Just for temporary. I wonder, the total mining speed of all of these is 10 per second, so we'll see what we can get with electric drills. They're both bigger and mine faster, and then we won't have the, what are they called, furnaces getting in the way. But we just finished our engine research. So we will need some engines. Probably just have 2 assemblers. Crafting engines. We have a decent amount of aluminum already. We'll drop in the steel. Oh, we don't need steel. That's nice. Pipes and small parts, which I should grab some. Okay. Should be enough engines for a little while. And let's get some miners going. Need a few more here. 2, 3. That's total output of 10.5 per second. So we're getting the same amount of iron ore. It'll just be using less coal, and I won't have to deal with the manual refueling is the main idea here. So it'll come in this one. So if you haven't seen Factory Smoke, here it is. Got a lot of space inside a small building, so it's a really sweet thing. And you can change the power limits on how much power a factory building can draw. Okay. Oh. Right. I still will need to manually refuel, but I can do it in such a way that makes more sense. You know, we can have this. I don't know, we can even put a belt with a chute. And this will be all of my smelting. Let's see, what's the speed on one of these? 0.8, so we need 10 for 8 per second, so probably 13 to 14-ish. I think that'll actually be enough. The other nice thing about the factory buildings is they provide power to the entire inside of the building. So you don't have to worry about power poles everywhere. And that obviously makes your designs a bit more efficient, because you don't have to place power poles everywhere, so you can pack things in a little tighter. And we will go up out the top, and that'll be for fuel. So I'll go grab a bunch of fuel. And this time our fuel isn't fueling the miners, it's only fueling the furnaces. So that will actually require a lot less input for fuel. Because the miners use, you know, it was 2 miners to 1 furnace, and the miners use about twice as much. So, what's the ratio there? Oh, that's only 7.5 iron ore per second. I guess I actually need long inserters here. We need some more inserters. Let's copy this. And then we can use our picker extended mod to place them all for us. There we go. And we'll just have fuel come down. Okay. There we go. I've run out of power, which keeps happening. I really need to bus the coal over, I think. There's also systems in Pyanodons, once you get a little bit more research done, where you can make power from nothing. Like, you can just get free stuff. They're pretty difficult, and, you know, all the buildings and the process, but you can end up just kind of manufacturing power out of thin air, which is nice. And we will have more elegant solutions for power fairly soon, actually. The energy generation one is already here, and we can, I think, we will need some lead. But we can already do this combustion mixture stuff, which is incredibly more power than coal. And you can make it from syngas with coke, which is the main one that you'll use in the early game. So you use all the coal gas and tar to make syngas, and then you use the coal to make coke, and then you make that combustion mixture. And it's pretty easy to have a build that, you know, provides 200 megawatts. That's not even all that big. So we'll get there eventually. But yeah, you can see this is a cool, you know, it's fun to just see ore going in and plates coming out. And it kind of is like, ooh, what's happening inside? But Factory Simo does definitely make the game a bit simpler, but I really like it for Pyanodons. It feels like with how big the buildings are, it's only fair to be able to shrink stuff down into a smaller space. Okay, well, our science is still running. We are out of wood again, though, which is a problem. So maybe I should be working towards wood. Xenobiology and botany. Okay. So I am a bit worried about that. I need to look a little bit more into that chain. So if I need logs from tree seedlings, I will need tree seeds and moss. We already have moss figured out, so that's not a worry. But I'll need tree seeds. Okay, those are just made out of wood. So I was worried I was going to have to do fancy xenobiology stuff, but it looks like that's just a prerequisite research. So we're actually going to go X4 for a second, so we can get some more wood. Don't know how much I'll need, but we'll go for, I don't know, 500 maybe. I gotta say, Time Tools makes this a lot more fun than it normally would be. Okay. We'll call that done. And looks like our iron's all going properly. It feels so slow at 1x speed. What else do I need to do? What research did I just finish? I don't actually know. Finished electronic components, which is how we can automate. But we need graphite, glass, tin, ceramic. Ceramic needs coke and clay. We need these acids, which use urea. Melamine fiber. Yeah, it's a pain to automate circuit ones. I've done it quite a few times before in Pyanodons, and it is a pain. So we're not going to worry about that right now. Oh, I finished automation too. Which, it's funny, there's definitely some changes that I think need to be made to the mod pack, because you unlock these assembling machine 2s when you're just at red science, but these advanced small parts require resources that you're not going to get. Where are they? Small parts. I mean, we're not going to be able to make these, like, for basically ever. I mean, we'll be 100 hours in probably by the time we can make these, because they need stainless steel. Everything else actually comes a bit sooner, but nylon and stainless steel take forever. Because stainless steel needs this molten stainless steel, which requires, look at all this. We need cobalt extract, which I feel like that's a new resource. I don't remember needing that before, or maybe it's just part of AlienLife. You need ferrochrome. You need regular molten steel, which requires green science. And then you need this aramid, which is molybdenum, which is one of the more complicated recipes, as well as this TCl liquid, which requires nichrome, liquid nitrogen. You need gasoline for that. I mean, it's just crazy. So, we will not be having assembling machine 2s for a very, very long time. But they do kind of throw you a bone in that there's a building called the Automated Factory, which is essentially an assembler Mark III, but it's just a lot bigger. But you can see the power ratio is a lot better, 100 kilowatts for 1.5 crafting speed. So I end up using those quite a bit when I need faster builds, but honestly, I'll show you how big they are. You know, they're about 4 times as big. Actually, a little bit more than 4 times as big. These are 7 by 7. So they take up 49 squares versus this only taking up 9. So they're not worth it in terms of space efficiency, but they are faster, which is nice. Let's see, okay. Let's make sure our science is still running. Doesn't seem like there's any hiccups. And I've got... my syngas seems to be good. The tar seems to be getting used up, which is good. But we will want to, you know, like I said, we'll want to do some sort of top-up valve, so it always uses the coal gas that's made from tar first. And that way we don't have to worry about a big backup. And ash can be used later for certain things, so it's best to not just completely destroy it. Let's see what else is going. We have run out of coal again for our aluminum. We only got 87 aluminum out of a few stacks of coal. Let's see, coal gas. What are the best ways to make it? So raw coal to 3 coal, we get 60 coal gas. 10 coal, we get 40. The coke barely gets us any. And other than that, that's pretty much it. So I'm trying to think, if we make 10 raw coal go to 3, that gives us 60 now, and then 3 coal would get us a third of this, which is 15, about 12. I think we'd get 12 coal gas because it's 0.3. So 12 plus 60, so 72. But if I use the other raw coal recipe, go directly into coal, with 10, we would have 6.6 regular coal, which then would make, yeah, still, okay, so the best way to get a ton of coal gas really is this method. And then using that tar. So maybe I should switch this to the raw coal one. And then we'll insert into this chest that goes in here. And then this one will insert into that chest, its output. So that way I can just load it up with raw coal. Oh, I just tried to fly my jetpack. I guess I built a little habit with space exploration where I wanted to fly everywhere because it was faster. Got used to it. Alright, so let's just load in a bunch of raw coal here. Yeah, that should work. And I could use the coke to get even more, but that's a pretty horrible ratio. Once you have coke, it only goes to... Let's see if... Here it is. It only goes to 1 coal gas and 1 tar per coke. So that's really more of a way to just get rid of coke than to actually process it effectively. So I'll at least save up some coke here. It'll always get used at some point in the game. But there we go, we got our miners running again. And I just finished another research. What was it? Finished fluid handling. Finally. So I can get some of my valves, make some top-ups and overflows. And I'll actually put those on the hotbar, because I will use them frequently. Okay, so we only want to top up the system right here. And that way we will always use the coal gas from the tar processing first. So that means these will always be able to output their tar, because that's the main problem that you can have there. And then with these guys, I really hate this. This is ugly, but I can't really get rid of it. I guess I can't make storage tanks yet anyway. It looks like Pyanodons already has underflow and overflow valves. That's interesting. I don't think I knew that. I've always been using the flow control ones. Oh, if you hold shift, it deletes those instantly when you mouse over them. I wonder if that's a feature or just... I don't know. Knowing the Factorio devs, it probably is, but... So we want to use the coal gas from these first, I think? Or no, from the earlier ones. Trying to remember how this works. Well, we want to not run out of, because the whole point of this is actually to make coke. And before I was needing so much coal gas that I used all the coke. Or I had too much coke, but now I actually maybe am having... I'm going to delete these. I know I'm wasting some coal gas, but I'm okay with that. This is just so ugly. Okay, so I'm trying to think. I want to use the coal gas from probably this guy first. So we will top up into there. And then I want to use the coal gas from, I think, the secondary. Which one would potentially freeze up? I don't actually know if they will freeze up, because... Yeah, I think this is the kind of system that can't freeze up, even if it gets maxed out. Because eventually it'll use the coal gas from all of this. So it's not like the output will be blocked here. This one's output might be blocked by coal gas. But then we'll end up using the coal gas from here. So the only problem is I might not be using enough coal gas to have all the coke that we need. So we can always put an overflow on this one so that it'll never max out on coal gas. But I don't love that idea, because then I'm wasting. So for now, we'll leave it the way it is. It does look like we have enough carbon dioxide currently. Alright, so that's all running. We've got our syngas, which is good power. We're mining. We need some more fuel there. But we're mining our aluminum. Okay. I probably should call it an episode soon. This is starting to run long, but there's always more to do in Pyanodons, more waiting to be done, and more upgrades to make. But let's check on our iron. Yeah, so we've still got a decent amount of fuel left. See, it's getting used very slowly, so that's great. But this power, on the other hand, is going to run out very soon. Kind of timed that just right. Looks like our power is going to run out any second now. So I need to keep filling that, which is annoying. But yeah, I think I'm going to call it an episode here. I know we didn't accomplish too much, but we've gotten slowly through some of the red tier researches that we want, and hopefully in the next episode we can work on some better coal and coke processing, and maybe even upgrade our iron processing. And I think once we start doing all that, I'm actually going to start busing all my ores out here, because this is all kind of a bootstrap starter base system that I definitely don't want to stick with forever. But I think I'm going to be done for this episode, so thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you guys next time.